wonderful to see you all today. Thank you for coming. Before the Dharma talk, I wanted to say that after I came to Houston in 1980, I lived in this place for about 37 years. I have seen some hurricanes, heavy rains, but I never seen this kind of a flood in Houston. When I watch news, we saw so many houses being flooded. I feel very, very uncomfortable because those places we use every day. And we depend on this kind of condition in order to live in this city. Suddenly, the house is wet. Many valuable stuff have been, soaked in the water. You have to tear everything off the wall where it's wet. And it's difficult. It's a great ordeal for every one of us. And the temple was trying to call members around the city. Whenever we can reach, we try to know they are safe. So during that weekends, we provide the space of the temple for people to come and stay over here safely during this heavy rain. Unfortunately, sometimes as a human being, we cannot change nature. When this heavy rain is coming down, we cannot move the clouds. So on that Sunday after Harvey was left, then I shared my thoughts in the Grand Hall with members. I told everyone that as a Buddhist, during this kind of a disaster, this kind of phenomenon, first, I hope every one of us, psychologically, we are prepared for this kind of a change. Because in this world, everything is changing constantly. Actually, we are very fortunate. We are seeing a lot of positive changes in daily life. But after some years, suddenly there's heavy rain. We cannot stop. We don't want to see this kind of changes, but somehow it happens. So let's be able to face this. Psychologically, we need to prepare inside us. When I was in Taiwan, actually the condition was more poor than the States. We did not have enough clothes. Even the only one of the blanket that I have, it was soaking in the water. After I woke up, the whole floor was flooded, and we were in a sleep. Then maybe we kicked the blanket off the bed. Then I discovered my valuable blanket was wet. Also, it's not going to be dry, soon. Also, it's cannot be able to recover from this kind of wetness. So let's be brave. Let's have the strength to deal with this kind of change that we don't want. Yeah. And also the temple, Texas Buddhist Association, also wanted to be prepared. I tried to form a committee. This is a special committee. Let's design a lot of items that we wanted to be ready for, something like this in the future. For example, in case we have hurricane coming through Houston directly, I hope all members, all friends who knows Bodhi Center, let's go to Bodhi Center, because that place is able to accommodate many people. Also, that place is safe for all of us. The buildings are stronger than your house. And also, it's far from the shore. Yeah. And even hurricane go through straightly through Houston, but when the wind reaches Bodhi Center, is going to be weak. Okay. You know, long time ago, when Ike was coming to this area, I decided to cut down some trees around the house. It was very painful to cut those trees, but I know that in order to protect those buildings, I have to sacrifice some of the trees near those houses, those buildings. Okay. And also, we wanted to provide routes. How can you get to Bodhi Center from your place? Not always use 290. Probably it will be congested. You know, when people try to go north or go to Austin, go to some place where it's safe, it will be congested. So I try to tell you where are the highways you can take. Okay, let's make it another way. Don't stop your car on freeways with others. So I'm trying to do something, be able to prepare us to face something like Harvey in the future. And the second thought that I shared with everyone that was, did you see a 70-year-old, maybe a 72-year-old lady? She was staying in her house. Even the water in the house for about 2 or 3 feet high. She's still in the house. She loves the house. Her granddaughter tried to reach her, but couldn't convince her to leave the house. So finally, the granddaughter asked a policeman's assistance. They went to the house, rescued this lady out of the house. When I saw this news, I wanted to mention this as a Buddhist concept. When we face this kind of disasters, be able to make a decision to save your life, because your body, your life is the most precious thing you wanted to save. Stay, safe and be alive. That is the most important things in the world. Okay, not because we attach to our belongings, then we've been trapped in those dangerous places. Finally, I hoped every one of us, even though we see something is not fortune, but at the same time, we can cultivate our compassion, loving kindness toward each other, comfort others, support others. This is the opportunity for us to share our loving kindness and compassion at this moment. And so I try to contact many family members. According to our records, right now I think we have about 20 members, houses being flooded. So next Wednesday, I'm going to meet another family in Northwest area. And I'm going to talk to this lady, see what we can do for her, because she's alone. Yeah, sons are not in Houston anymore, and husband already passed away long time ago. So we have to find a way to support her. Yeah, and also I offer the house in front of the temple to some families. If you don't have a place to stay, let me know. We can use the house in front to accommodate your family. Okay, so this is what I had shared, I think 2 weeks ago with members in the front. Today,
Can I just add something?
yes.
You mentioned compassion. I forgot to mention this to all of you in case you don't know. The week after Hurricane, Shinshin spontaneously decided to offer a actually loving kindness daycare. So we had several volunteers who were here to, stay with children of those families where the parents had to, take care of their flooded homes and other items. And so I know from the pictures that Daisy here in the front and Bob in the back, one of the
Yes.
children's teacher, were one of the volunteers. And I don't know if any of you that I don't recognize from the pictures that I received. So I want to say thank you for, donating generously your time to take care of the children that we.
Yes, thank you. Today, let's read the last realization of the sutra on the 8 realizations. And after the reading, I'm going to spend some time to discuss the path of a bodhisattva. So everyone has a copy? Okay. Okay. This paragraph is very short. Of course, we have another paragraph of the conclusion. Let's read the short paragraph, the 8th realization. The eighth realization is the awareness that the fire of birth and death is raging, causing endless suffering everywhere. We should take the great vow to help everyone, to suffer along with everyone, and to help all beings arrive at the realm of great joy. I think this paragraph is very, very suitable for us to discuss today. Okay, how can we help others? Yeah. Before we discuss the contents of this sutra, I wanted to use a few minutes simply explain why we study the Dharma. What is the purpose for us to learn Buddha's teaching? According to sutras, including this sutra, it always mentioning this to us. We wanted to achieve enlightenment in order to maintain happiness, great happiness. We wanted to achieve enlightenment in order to maintain our inner peace. We don't want to continue to suffer because of our birth and death. In Buddhism, when we talk about birth and death, actually it means after birth, we are still here because we are alive. We are alive doesn't mean we are always happy. After birth, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not happy. There are afflictions, different kind of feelings. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's very hopeless. And in our life, sometimes there are sufferings happening to us. So after birth, we are still alive, but somehow our life is not perfect. It's a mixed life phenomenon. Sometimes happy, sometimes not happy. So how are we going to deal with this kind of a phenomenon? And also every one of us if we think about death, basically we don't want it to die. That's why, we try to create all kinds of medication, make ourselves, healthier. But even today, we have a very advanced medication system. But somehow we all know someday we're going to die. That is the facts. Every time when I go to funeral service, okay, someday I will be lying there. Some people will do, certain kind of service for me. One day I will be in the coffin. Okay, when we think about death, most people have fear. Nobody will say, oh, I'm going to enjoy it. Only arahants, when they hear death, there's no fear anymore. So when Shakyamuni Buddha passed away, when he was 80 years old, if you carefully look on the picture they are drawing in Dunhuang, what do you call the cave? Okay, they are paintings. Okay, in the painting, there are monks, nuns, lay Buddhists. Some monks sitting there calmly. Some monks still crying. Some lay Buddhists, maybe very calm. Some are, very sad. Feel great loss when they hear Buddha passed away. Only arahants, they achieved enlightenment, perfectly understanding the truth, no more ignorance, no more attachment. Then when they hear death, there's no more fear. They can face this with calmness. Okay. So today I wanted to mention this because when we study Buddhism, we understand we wanted to achieve perfect right understanding, no more wrong understanding. Do you know in Buddhism we say why we have so many conflicts and problems in the society? Because we have certain kind of ignorance. We don't understand things correctly as the way it is. So we fight each other. We're against each other, even killing each other. When someone who uses a gun shoots somebody in the road, why he's doing this? There must be something wrong of his thinking. He cannot control his emotional feelings at the moment. I believe after everything is cleared, the judge is going to put him in jail, then probably there will be regrets. Yeah, I feel sorry. Oh, on that day I was not thinking clearly. So in Buddhism we say ignorance is the roots of anger, is the roots of greedy. So we have to eradicate ignorance in order to achieve liberation and also maintaining our inner peace. Okay, today I wanted to continue to go further. How can we achieve enlightenment? There are two ways we can select, two ways. One way is you study the Dharma. 2,500 years ago, you listened to the Buddha's Dharma talk. Today, you read the sutra or you listen to the Dharma teachers. You observe precepts in daily life. Correct your conducts. Be able to correct your own conducts, your action. Okay. Observing precepts. No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no intoxication. Those are 5 precepts for all lay Buddhists. You are able to observe those precepts. For monks, there will be some more precepts. This is the first one. Second, you are able to concentrate your mind. You are able to concentrate your mind. Meditation is the base for deep concentration. If a person cannot concentrate, it's difficult for this person to achieve anything. Even in the school, you cannot study well. Concentration is another quality we have to cultivate. Finally, the third practice is be able to contemplate on the law of cause and effect. Clear a lot of wrong understanding. Okay, correctly understand what caused what. Okay, this is one way to increase, to cultivate our wisdom. And also, you are going to observe the phenomenon of impermanence in this practice. You wanted to see everything's changing. Sometimes we don't feel that. Even everything's changing. But I don't recognize this phenomenon. So be able to observe the changing phenomena. Okay. Then contemplate on interdependency. Finally, perfectly understand non-self. That will make you achieve enlightenment. You can stay in one place, practice those 3 practices. And you can go to the mountain, stay in the mountain, practice those. Okay. One day you are able to achieve enlightenment. This is one way. Another way is you are going to practice those 3 practices. You are going to observe precepts, enhance your concentration, observe impermanence, and also interdependency, plus great compassion, plus great compassion. When we say plus great compassion, that means I'm not going to the mountain, just practice those Dharma by myself. I wanted to share my practice with others. Okay, I wanted to help others to understand the Buddha's teaching in order to liberate, together. So the first way, you are going to the mountain, do those 3 practices. We call this Hinayana. Hinayana means small vehicle. You are riding bicycle. If you say, I wanted to go to Dallas, I wanted to ride a bicycle. If you continue to ride bicycle for some days, you can arrive Dallas, definitely. Okay? But this is small vehicle. You only carry yourself. Can you carry me? At the same time, it's difficult sometimes. Bicycle is too small. Yeah. Okay, some people will say, I'm not going to ride bicycle. I'm going to drive a van, drive a bus. I'm going to rent a bus. Okay, on this bus, I'm going to carry myself to Dallas. Also, perhaps I can carry everyone to Dallas with me. All of you can go to Dallas with me on this bus. So we call this practitioner Mahayana. Mahayana. Maha means big, great vehicle, big vehicle. So today, when you hear people, talking about, Mahayana, Theravada, Probably you seldom to hear Hinayana, but actually after Buddha passed away for about 500 years, in Indian Buddhism, there were two words started to spread, Hinayana or Mahayana. Okay. Today, after you hear my explanation, you are going to understand why we call those practitioners Mahayana, because this is big vehicle. You are not just going to achieve enlightenment. At the same time, you have loving kindness. You have compassion toward others. You wanted to help others to achieve enlightenment at the same time. Okay, this sutra is teaching us how to be a Mahayana Buddhist. Okay, so this realization emphasizes on this part. Okay, I remember about 20 years ago, once I was in China, Xi'an city. One day I went to Zhongnan Mountain. Zhongnan Mountain was very, very important in Chinese Buddhist history. Nowadays, even though a lot of buildings have been destroyed, but when I visited the place, I still saw a few young monks living in the temple in Zhongnan Mountain. They stay there, practice meditation daily. I climbed to the place. There was no road at the time. You have to climb, and it's difficult. Yeah. After we arrived the temple, I sat down, I rest myself. Then I talked to those young monks. I talked to one of the young monks. I said, how long you been here in this temple? Oh, 2 years already. And when are you going to Xi'an city to teach others to understand Buddhism? Because when I was in Xi'an, do you know Venerable Xuanzhuang Dashi? He was in Xi'an to translate a lot of sutras. Emperors in Xi'an support this monk, this venerable, to translate all kinds of sutras for some years. It was a very famous Buddhist city in ancient time, especially in Tang Dynasty. But when I talked to Xi'an people in those days, 20 years ago, not many Xi'an residents understand Buddhism. So I asked this young monk, when are you going to teach Xi'an people to recognize what is Buddhism? Okay. He told me this in this way. Okay. He said, Venerable Han Yi, when I achieved enlightenment, then I'm going to have a plan to go to Xi'an city to teach others. I have to wait one day when I achieve enlightenment. Then I'm going to plan a trip to Xi'an city. After I heard this young monk's words, suddenly I felt a little disappointed because it's very urgent for us to teach Xi'an people, correctly understand Buddhism. If you wait until the day you achieve enlightenment, when are you going to achieve enlightenment? Maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years. Maybe you have to use the rest of your life in order to achieve enlightenment. That's a very long time. Sometimes, should we think in this way? If I say, let me go to mountain. I don't want to stay at the Jade Buddha temple anymore. I wanted to achieve enlightenment, before I talk to you again. Sometimes when we think about Mahayana teaching, I don't want to arrange my schedule in this way. I feel that I wanted to continue on my own practice. At the same time, I wanted to share some time with members, with all of you. Because without my participation, Texas Buddhist Association, how this organization can serve this community. Sometimes, I'm thinking in a different way, so that's why I'm still here. Even though in 1980, I heard the wrong words of Houston. I thought I was going to Boston. One senior monk in New York, he called me, Venerable Han Yi, could you accompany me to go to Boston to visit an ill monk who's very ill? And you go to Boston with me to see this monk. I thought for 2 days. Then I said, okay, let me go with you because Boston is not too far. How many days are you going to be there? Only 2 days. Oh, that's very short. So I agreed with him, and but somehow when I arrived at LaGuardia Airport, I looked on the tickets. It's not Boston, it's Houston. But the main force for me to stay in Houston, not because I like Houston in 1980. When I came to Houston, it was so hot. In 1980, the summer of 1980 was very hot in Houston. I told myself, how people can live in Houston like this? And it's too hot. And I didn't know anyone. Even Venerable Jinghai, I didn't know him. I just accompanied the monk to come here to visit him. But after I heard Venerable Jinghai was alone in Houston, nobody could stay with him to take care of him. Then I remember my vow when I was 17 years old. Because that year I was ill seriously. Then I followed Bodhisattva's vow according to Bodhisattva's path, precepts. Then I told myself, as a monk, someday, one day, if I see another monk who's very ill, nobody can take care of him, I will be the one who will stay with him until somebody comes. Okay? So I made a vow. I followed Bodhisattva's path when I was 17 years old. So after 3 other monks from different places, they had a meeting, discussed this matter for some time. Nobody could stay. Then they turned their head, you can stay. I was very difficult to face this kind of request in those days because I prepared myself to go to school in New York. I already applied to school in New York. I simply wanted to improve my English for about 2 years. Then back to Taiwan, do translation for the sutras. That was my goal, to be in the States. I don't want it to be in the States forever. Because of my vow, I made decision, told myself, let me stay here for 3 months with Venerable Jinghai. When he recovered, I'm going to leave. But somehow I'm still here. Okay, what kind of a practice that you wanted to follow? The first category or the second category? Be a Hinayana practitioner or be a Mahayana practitioner. Today, of course, I feel it's very worthy for me to be in Houston for 37 years. It's my honor to serve Texas Buddhist Association. Also, I learn a lot from every one of you. Every time when I provide a talk, actually I'm improving my understanding on the Dharma, Buddha's teaching. Do you know, you listen is one attitude. When you wanted to share with others, it's another attitude. So someday, try to talk to others. Share your thoughts, share your understanding. You are going to improve yourself. So that means during the time I'm driving the bus, also at the same time, I'm not just the driver. Also, I wanted to take care of my passengers, to comfort them, let them enjoy the trip. Also, safely carry them from Houston to Dallas. This is my duty. Also, I wanted to be a joyful driver on the bus. I don't want it to be miserable while I'm driving. I don't want it to be like that. So that's why in daily life, I feel even I'm busy every day, but I'm enjoying every moment in my daily life. Okay, be a Mahayana Buddhist monk. You have to be able to learn how to take care of yourself first. Okay, that is also very important. Today, let me point out this sentence. According to Venerable Tinahan's translation, okay, we should take the great vow to help everyone, to suffer along with everyone, and to help all beings arrive at the realm of great joy. This is the translation. I hope let's spend some time on this part. To suffer along with everyone. I try to find other translations. I'm going to check what are the other translations for this sentence. Okay, to suffer along with everyone. One translation in this translate in this way: to bear sufferings for others, to bear sufferings of others, to bear others' sufferings, okay? Or to endure hardships of living beings, to endure hardships of all living beings. Okay, in my own understanding, actually according to Chinese translation from Sanskrit, it says in this way in Chinese. I wanted to substitute as another person to face his or her suffering. I wanted to take your position. You are in suffer. You, out of this position, I'm going to substitute your position. Take this suffering for you. This is the original Chinese translation. 愿代众生受无量苦. I wanted to take all living beings' suffering as my own suffering. I hope everyone will be free. That is the original concept of this sutra. Okay? But after we learn this kind of a teaching, at the same time, maybe you have this question. According to Buddha's teaching, Buddha says, what you harvest was what you plant. What you plant, what you are going to harvest in the future. What you do, you have to face this kind of consequence, okay, of your doing. So we are responsible for whatever we face, good or bad, according to the universal cause and effect. So this is the teaching of Buddha. We cannot escape. We cannot blame others. Today I'm ill because of you. We cannot say this. Yeah, I have to face this my my own responsibility. I cannot blame any uncomfortable consequence on others. Okay. In Ming Dynasty, Venerable Ouyi Dashi, according to his explanation, he said, why Buddha taught us in this way? Actually, Buddha asked us, you wanted to train yourself as a mother to see your child. You wanted to act like parents, acting like parents to see your own kids. For example, as a mother, as parents, when we see our kids are ill, most of the time we are thinking, if I can take your illness, I wanted to take your illness from you. So I wanted to be suffered, but not you. That means you are going to cultivate your great compassion by thinking in this way, even though you know you cannot substitute any living beings. For example, today a judge sentenced a person to go to jail. Okay. According to universal law, we cannot talk to the judge in this way. Judge, Mr. A is my good friend. I'm a Buddhist. Instead of put him in jail, you put me in jail. I think the law is not allowed in this way, is right? Is it allowed? No? No? So Mr. A is still responsible to go to jail. You cannot substitute Mr. A to go to jail. So this is the understanding of Buddha's teaching basically, but at the same time, according to this sutra, this sutra emphasizes on that how are we going to see living beings in our own heart. We wanted to see every living being as our own kids. You act like parents. Okay, okay. This is one explanation. Another explanation is according to other material. Some teachers, they will say, even though I cannot go to jail for Mr. A, but I can support him, I can comfort him. As a monk, I can go to jail to, share the Dharma with him. So we can do something to improve Mr. A's life, to better himself. And perhaps someday the judge can reduce his sentences. Okay. So we still can be supportive in certain kind of a condition. Okay. This is what we should do. This time, when I visit a family in northwest area, right after the flood, Sister Xuchao was cooking in the kitchen, prepare lunch for some families. Their houses being flooded. So after we have the lunch box, some try to visit families in southwest area. Some will go to northwest area. On the day I was in northwest area, so I went to the place. When I arrived at the house, I talked to the member, and she's kind of a little upset. My house was messy. Venerable Hangyi, you don't go inside. The smell is not good. Okay, it's a very what do you call that? Stinky, because sheetrock after the water, you feel the smell is, the air is not that good. All of them covered with face mask. And she blocked me Renbohan, you don't go into my house. So I stood outside. Then I saw many volunteers, 4 or 5 volunteers. And some are her neighbors. Some she doesn't know. She said, I don't know this person. But he's coming, for the second day to clean my house. And also I didn't know this young man. He's one tall white American and cover his face. But somehow this young person, when he passed through in front of me, he always joined his palms and bowed to me every time he passed in front of me. I'm curious. I asked this lady, I said, who's he? Is a Buddhist or not? But somehow there are few people, volunteers, go through his house and try to clean the house for her. And this lady suddenly felt he doesn't have to worry too much because there are some people who's going to clean the house for her. And even though she and her husband, her son and daughter-in-law, they all came from Chicago, stay in Houston for a few days, do their best to clean the house. Okay. But there are some strangers, people she doesn't know, also came to the house to clean the place for her. She felt so thankful, so appreciate, and also feel strong there. I'm not alone. Some people around me, they are going to help me to clean the house. Otherwise, I cannot accomplish this by myself and my husband. So how can we support others? Also, it's the way to reduce others' suffering. Even though we cannot 100% substitute others to face this kind of ordeal, but when we do something psychologically and also material, in the reality, we can do something for this family and to take care of this family. Okay, this is also one explanation for this part, to suffer along with everyone. And also in China, in Qing Dynasty, Venerable Xu Fa, he says, every time when we teach people on meditation, every time when we teach people how to understand Buddha's Dharma, actually we are helping people to prevent the future suffering. The future suffering. For example, somebody always trying to do something out of anger, but after he meditates, after he listens to the Dharma, then he changes his personality. He reduces his anger little by little. Of course, after you reduce or eradicate your anger, you are not going to create more sufferings for yourself in the future. This is another way. Okay. So today we are here. I hope all of you are safe, are happy. Maybe I cannot do any more other things, but today I'm sharing Dharma with you that will prevent future suffering. Okay. And finally, I have a suggestion that when we decide to help others, you wanted to practice Mahayana way, you wanted to be a bodhisattva, to show your compassion, love and kindness. You have to have a patience, be able to endure some difficulties. I'm sorry. even coughing, you cannot substitute. So I have to maybe allergic to something in the air. I don't know. When I was 17 years old, because I was not in good health, and no people can really give me certain kind of help in the school. I feel kind of lonely as a monk in college. So every morning, I bow to Buddha 50 times, prostration. I wanted to train myself, be strong psychologically, be strong physically. So I do the prostration 50 times in the morning, 50 times in the evening, after we finish the evening chanting meditation. One evening, I was alone in the hall, just myself. I was bowing. Suddenly, I heard something in the hall. I turned my head. I saw a novice, a young boy who's a novice in the school, about 12 years old. He was stealing the money from the donation box. It was a little dark. Someone is opening donation box. Suddenly I stopped. I looked at him for a while. He's counting the money. Then I noticed something is wrong because it's not allowed. In a temple, in Buddhist monastery, it's not allowed. So I went to him. I told him, I said, what are you doing? You are taking money from donation box, is it right? He said, yes, I need some money. I said, I have to report you to the principal. The principal was Venerable Xingyun in Taiwan. Do you know him? He's a very famous monk in Taiwan. Thank you. Do we have a children's class today? Oh, okay. Okay, let me make it short. After I report this instance, Venerable Xingyun tried to educate this young novice. Then he said, 弘毅同学, okay, from today, you are his guidance. You watch him for me. Without your permission, he cannot go anywhere. You take care of him. Actually, that was difficult because at the moment, this novice was very angry. He hated me. How can I be his guardians? How can I sponsor everything for him? He won't listen to me. But I tried for about 3 months. Finally, out of compassion, out of loving kindness, I wanted to share everything that I have with him. I tried to comfort him, to encourage him for some time, continually for about 3 months. Finally, this novice always followed my order. Okay, today I wanted to share this. Being a bodhisattva is not easy. You have to be patient, okay, be able to deal with difficulties, okay, conquer some hardships, okay, and be strong, be brave, and also be skillful. Never be a failed bodhisattva, a failed bodhisattva. According to Venerable Nagarjuna's teaching, he said, we encourage everyone to be a bodhisattva, but never make yourself be a failed bodhisattva. A failed? Huh? 失败, failed bodhisattva. Something you cannot do, you force yourself to do, maybe you should be careful, okay? And you are not strong enough, then you have to see how heavy I can carry. Okay, if you can only carry 10 pounds, carry 10 pounds. Okay, you can slowly increase, but not rush in a short time and hurt yourself. Be a failed bodhisattva. Okay, Su Xian, could you please read the last paragraph? Do you have the copy? You need glasses? Okay. Okay. And it depends on you when we can finish. The last paragraph, that is the conclusion. Okay. The last.
These 8 realizations are the discoveries of great beings, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, who have diligently practiced the way of compassion and understanding. They have sailed the Dharmakaya's boat to the shore of Nirvana, but then they return to the ordinary world, having abandoned the 5 desires, with their minds and hearts directed toward the noble way, using these 8 realizations to help all beings recognize the suffering in the world. If the disciples of the Buddha recite these 8 realizations and meditate on them, they will put an end to countless misunderstandings and difficulties moment after moment and progress toward enlightenment, leaving behind the world of birth and death, dwelling forever in peace.
Thank you, Su Xian. I'm going to overseas next month, so I won't be able to talk to you next month. I will be back in November. And take care. Thank you for listening to me. Okay. Also, I will be here for a while. And when I have a time over there, if you have any question, please ask me directly. Thank you so much.